Good morning, good morning. It's a lovely day to say good morning. This should load within the next couple of minutes. I'm gonna be honest, all of the loading times seem to have dramatically increased, so to be expected, I suppose. Gonna turn up the volume a bit. Hey, ahoy, me matey! How are you doing? Yeah, you're right on time. Holy crap, I just saw your comment. You are crazy quick. Wow. Wow. Wild quick. Yeah, like it says, we're going to play some Lizards. Hopefully Total War works for us this time. If it doesn't, I'm probably going to have to swap over. But, you know, we did that last time. Looks like it should work. I was trying to load it up beforehand so that it would actually function a little better. Just let me know if the audio is okay, because we've had some issues with that in the past. But I think I fixed it. I'm pretty sure I fixed it. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that I fixed it. Yeah, hello, ahoy. I can't do the Mirren thing. I don't have that type of voice. Then again, I don't have a lot of. Hey, that's nice. Cybered up troll. See, trolls are dumb as fuck, so I really gotta wonder what was cyber about it, because they're already pretty strong. Was it supposed to be quicker or smarter? Because depending upon the version, trolls can be very wildly different. Interestingly enough, trolls actually are very different within human traditions as well. Trolls of, like, different mythologies are dramatically different. Some of them are just, like, messed up humans, and then some of them are, you know, like Lord of the Rings. They're built from the mountains, and they're these monstrous creatures. Please work. Please don't freeze. Hey! It's working? It's working! Nice. That's what we like to see. Yeah. Playing Swalapiatek. What do we want? Yeah, I think we want monsters. Yeah, big peoples, metatypes. Average human intelligence-wise. Yeah, so what was the modification for them? Was it like, if they were human, was it just like a strength increase? That would make sense to me. Alright, it's been a while since I've used temple guards. I kind of forget how to do them correct. I hate slacks. I forgot that this is like one of the easiest factions to play. And yet somehow we still get kill and eat, please. Why aren't we killing and eating these people? Nice and how's the audio working, by the way? Is it working good? Implanted armor and cleaver. Ooh. Thermal eyes. That's fucked up, but kind of cool, honestly. Alright. Growth and public order, because again, this is definitely a fair faction with no exploits whatsoever. Hero. Oh, Checkaxe! What's up, homie? I forgot I had Checkaxe. Checkaxe is bad. Oh, it's very loud? Okay. How about that? Is that better? Slightly? Okay. Turned it down by half. That should help. Okay, what am I allowed to get, game? Pretty much just this. Well, fuck you then. I'm not a big fan of the tech tree for the lizard men. The cupped hands of the old ones and venom of the firebelly frog. Oh yeah, isn't that just yeah? Huinmanlichutli is the firebelly frog, I think. Wasn't that one of his things? What's his revered being? Immortal, lower to miscast chance, higher winds of magic. I don't know. Maybe it's just Chakax who's a badass, because I remember Chakax has some wild abilities. Yep, he's got all the Guardian bonuses, including Eternity Warden, and then he just has regular bonuses, and Honored Elder. So, hella good stuff, and quest abilities. That was the main thing he has. He gets 3 quest items, which is nice. I like quest items for like, minor characters. Yeah. I'm gonna put it back up to, like, 50%, like to here. Yeah. Let me know if that works. How's my audio? Can you hear me all right? Because that was my real concern. Not that I'm unconcerned about game volume. It's just I'd rather you are able to hear me. Raiding a cyborg gang, hit them at night, killed the lights and threw strobe lights on because their goggles had flash suppression. That's a very innovative use of trolls. I don't know if it would benefit anyone fighting with them, but if you're just using trolls, that works pretty damn well. Alright. There's what we need for now. And I'll probably get another one of these, another one of these, another one of these, and then just get one of those. Okay. Yeah, that gets me to 16, and that'll probably be clapping out my army for the moment. Arm cleavers are also a very solid plan. One of my favorite things about the classic Lord of the Rings trolls was how many of them had inbuilt weapons into their bodies, because they didn't really care as much about like feeling pain, or at least it wasn't something that was like a concern for them seemingly. So, you know, being elder beings, they were kind of just cool with having stuff stapled to them, basically. Only enemy with flash suppression. Ooh, nice. See, I'm pretty sure, isn't flash suppression a thing that we have today with, like, some sorts of automated vision systems? I know that we have it on, like, some tanks and stuff, but I don't know if they have it for personal stuff yet. Okay, I'm gonna take Chotek, and then the Temple of Tepkin. Ron the Bloated. That is a hilarious name. Yeah. We going full coastal, baby. Yeah. Once I take this, we go a little bit south. We take this temple. Or maybe, yeah, maybe I just destroy it. I think destroying it might be a better plan. Can we be friends? Let's be friends. We are friends. Oh, I forgot. I literally have, like, all of this to do. Non-aggression, trade agreement, military access. And then it's nope, it's gonna be our enemy, and so is Hexoatil, so let's not. No stupid expensive Siren Mounts, lots of high quality basic equipment. Yeah, I always like the more conservative starting equipment. Let's raise it. Yeah, faction destroyed. That's what I was looking for. And let's smoke and mirrors. And then Chakax can grab training. And then we should be good, I think. What's the next level of this? I really don't like it. It's weird. With almost every other faction, I like the heroes. But with the Lizardmen particularly, I just hate their heroes for some reason. Like, the Skink Chief and the Skink Scout, they just piss me off massively. I hate microing them, and I hate playing with them. So I just kind of don't use them, basically ever. Even these little bastards I don't really like. I like the Chameleon Skinks, like, when I use them, but they're just so frustrating to play against. Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch any of the new videos? I put out a triple. Excited about that. Expensive vehicle, cheap dirt bikes. Yeah. Oh yeah, modded MP. See, modded MP5s and dirt bikes is like a very, very nice layout. Like, it's a very gangblaster, gangland type fight system, and I am a big fan of that. All right, I can buy 2 of these and afford them, and then I will decrease my number of red-crested skinks. And I would buy another unit of archers, but it looks like they're not cheap enough. So I guess that's fine. Yeah, survival, stealth, and surveillance equipment. You said that they're kind of on that long road where they're going to be out on their own for a while. You are using the like items and equipment from regular Only War, right? Oh, wow. Oh, sorry, yeah, Shadowrun. Sorry. Yeah, I'm mixing and matching up my things here. Alrighty. So that should be a good army. I think I can solidly take down whatever is coming up against me with that. I am confident. Yeah. So they're mercs in Shadowrun? Makes sense. Oh my goodness. Look at this little bastard. See, I still think I win this because he's suffering. Maybe he don't. Maybe I don't. What have we got here? Not much. See, my garrisons suck. Good. See, a lot of people watch the Imperial Ships one, which I don't know why, because I released that right in the middle. And I had a feeling, I was like, I know one of these is going to get a lot more play than the others, but I was not expecting that one to be as popular as it was. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because it was something that people were really calling for like, a brick. And I was like, I really need to do something with Navy, because I have a lot of Navy info and a lot of naval stuff to talk about. So I felt like it would be appropriate to do it as part of this triple header, where I was doing a bunch of videos that weren't necessarily things that people asked for. They were just things that I had wanted to do that I couldn't really put into the voting system. And by the way, the tier system is entirely from me, so I know some people were confused as to like why it was tiered. It's entirely 100% my design, because I was using it to create that Battlefleet Solar game, which was supposed to be a version of the old Battlefleet games, Battlefleet Gothic, which had 2 editions, and I was making a 3rd edition, which was Battlefleet Gothic 3, or Battlefleet Solar, which is what I renamed it. And it was designed to basically be played on like a basic 2D grid map, and I was getting stats for all the weapons and all the equipment and stuff, and so I naturally had to break it down into tiers. And it's turned out that way, and really it works super well, because it keeps all the weapons very separate, and it makes it really easy to decide what any 1 or 2 ships have, based on, like, some basic art. So a lot of the art that I have in there is from, like, OG books, or from, like, versions of Battlefleet Gothic, where it's like, well, you have this, and that, and this little turret, and this little turret, and then I could point out when I was making the system, I was like, okay, that's a flex weapon, that's a broadside weapon, that's this, that's that. And I could pretty easily kind of pinpoint what I was looking at. Okay, well, this is a split army situation. Okay, we're going to put all of our cheap stuff over here. I'm going to put this here. And then I think everything else is going to go over here. This is a nice, easy way of doing this. Yeah, everything else is going over here. I think Chakax and all of these guys can do the job. Alright. Let's mess them up. Comes to boarding actions in the Battlefield Gothic games, you use it to every fight pretty much, ignoring Space Marine and navies. How often do Imperial ships board people? Rarely, but they defend against boarding pretty often. So I talked about it in that video, but there are multiple different types of like boarding tech and boarding like versions of how you board ships. And the big ones that I came back to were essentially the lowest grade one would basically be you get an umbilical. Which is just an air-filled tube between both ships. and you stick it out, and either it burns a hole through it using a Melta warhead or something like that. Oh my god, look at the color scheme. They're teal and blue. That's cool as hell. That's actually a really nice color scheme. I like that a lot. Yeah, no, you're not retreating. We are fighting here. Yep, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. So it happens a lot on the defensive, where the Imperial Navy will get attacked by somebody who has better invasion or like attacking power, essentially. You know, Chaos Space Marines, pirates, that kind of shit. But when the Navy does it, they will either use boarding torpedoes, which come in two different flavors. There's more expensive boarding torpedoes that the Marines use, and then there's the cheaper ones that most people use. And the other option, other than the boarding torpedoes and the umbilical, would be things like Dreadclaw drop pods, Ursus claws, teleportation, all that much more fancy, but also much more expensive, I suppose, things. I should probably have switched up what direction my armies were going. Damn. This is going to be a lot rougher than I thought it would be. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. One, you can make umbilicals relatively tough and have multiple layers. And also, of course, crush points and things like that, where if it breaks down, it's gonna not just explode. The other thing is, armsmen almost always have pressure suits of some kind. So it isn't like you break the tube and everybody dies. It's like you break the tube and, okay, fine, now we're fighting in 0G. Which, again, naval armsmen, it's one of the cool things about them is they're actually trained to do that. That's one of their jobs, is to be able to fight in 0G. Or at least in a no-oxygen environment. What in God's name is going on over here? What the hell? Yeah, we're gonna put that back there. Yeah. So there's ways to avoid that being as much of an issue as it seems. Because, yeah, I could get how that seems weird. But, yeah. Yeah, and that's the cool thing as well about Marines, because they also have some cool ways to fight in 0G too. Which is nice. But it's not exactly the most efficient way to fight, for sure. There are definitely more efficient ways to do it. Alright, what the hell? Yehoy! What's up, buddy? How you doing? Yeah, hello. Alright. Got some good shit here. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a long one, to be honest, because, like I said, I haven't been doing much so far. So, this is going to be a longer stream. Melkoff's mystifying miasma, please. See, these are not supposed to be cavalry. They're just flying carpets. They're like a ranged unit. What the hell? This thing is being the exact opposite of helpful, basically. Promethean hatchlings. I think it can take care of that. I hope. Be a little bit embarrassing if it couldn't. Alright, what else do we have? You are sticking around in the battle for a little longer. These guys over here, they're doing a lot of damage because the lizardmen are tanky as hell, but they are also taking a ton more damage than they should be. Jezzails, get rid of those. That shit you're carrying, get rid of it. Yes, please attack these knights, because I don't want to deal with them anymore. Alright. Jackaxe, where are you? Yeah, no, kill that dude, please. And Hutzla Putzli, you are going to heal yourself. This is going to be the toughest part, just keeping him alive and healthy. Because no regen and low-level character. Luckily, I have tons of regen in this build. Anti-sneak attack. Oh! I mean, that's with, like, melee attacks, so... I mean, yeah, that works well. I assume it doesn't work with range attacks, or it just works differently with range attacks. That would be my assumption. Alright, yeah. Arabian Knights gonna get attacked by them. Chagax, how long until you get your stuff back? Not long. Okay, 2 seconds. We need to get you back on the hog. Oh no, that's not good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's our spellcaster probably gone, to be honest. Okay, this is not good. I think we lose this, but as usual with the Lizardman, a loss is never the end. 'Tis merely the start of the beginning of the start of the beginning. Physical contact, so melee attacks but not range attacks. Huh, that's not bad. And yeah, letting someone wail on you is a pretty solid way to get that to work out. Yeah, those are getting ground up, unfortunately. Gonna get rid of some spearmen. Moo! Yeah, please go over here and start healing. Alright. Data jack. See, that's a unique thing, because I always get a little bit weirded out in those more, like, tech-heavy games about, you know, because this was a thing in Cyberpunk where they'd be like, oh yes, you've been hacked, or you've had some sort of damage done to your implants, and you just go, like, comatose, and you just fall over. And I was like, how does that not happen more often? And I think it's pretty reasonable for someone to have something like that in their, like, finger or hand or fingertip. Alright, come on. I just need to grind a few more of them out, and then I should be okay. Get rid of some Corsairs. Some of that there. 34 seconds. Bro, are you healing yourself or no? Oh, he is. He's just hitting, like, the regen cap. Damn. I have been overusing his healing, apparently. Nope, you are sticking with me. Nobody is running until the very end. I refuse to allow any of you to run without at least killing one other unit. Which sucks, because we basically have obliterated one army, but not a standing one. Which really, really sucks. Wizard. Cyborg Commandos. Yeah. It's always a solid idea to kill the spellcaster first. Basically, no matter what the scenario or the game system. Because In D&D, it's rough, because sometimes you can't tell who a spellcaster is and isn't. That dude wearing robes, maybe he's got chainmail under them. That dude who's wearing robes, maybe he's a cleric, maybe he's a priest, maybe he's something else. It's something that I do in D&D where I always have wizards one way and, like, sorcerers and warlocks especially. You'll never know who a warlock is picking them out of a crowd because it can be anyone. 18-year-old kid, he's a serial killer. You just don't know it. Teenager with a severe parenting issues, yeah, probably. Probably a serial killer and or maybe something else. At least in the right direction. Okay. Alrighty. Scary and Shadowrun. Strategic weapon arms. I assume that's something like a call-in weapon, like a heavy weapon. Also, I love the idea of wizards being the equivalent of like a heavy weapons guy. Because, you know, who has the most damage potential amongst the entire party? Usually it's the wizard. He just also has the least amount of damage resistance. Any opinions, by the way, on, like, the newest edition of D&D? Because I know there was, spells so powerful they counted as a strategic weapon. Yep, there you go. Exactly what I was talking about. Kind of orbital weapons with the mages. But any opinions on the newest version of D&D? Because I've been, like, intentionally physically distancing myself from the newer edition just because I'm worried about it impacting my current game. And about, you know, obviously I'm a big homebrew guy. I don't like running modules or anything, so I'm not worried about them, like, releasing modules or anything, or items or any stuff that would interfere with my games. What I am worried about is, like, I remember when people were used to playing 3.5 or 4th edition, and then I was the first 5th edition game that they had. Oh yeah, no, it's one D&D. They decided to go out of the number order. Instead of being 1st edition, 2nd edition, 3, 3.5, and 4th edition, now instead of having 5.5, which is technically what one D&D is, they've just called it one D&D, which I guess makes sense because they want it to be like a soft reboot of the setting as a whole, in order to, I guess, streamline the rules and make some more interesting rules. But the thing that keeps drawing me back to it, and I shouldn't say drawing me back to it because that sounds like I was, forcing myself. I was trying to not go into it and learn anything about it. One of the things that I kept seeing, and I was like, I gotta learn how this works, was they added affectations, like little sidebars to every type of weapon. So I think instead of doing an extra attack with these weapons, you can do something else. So there were things like weakening, uh, persistence, wounding, stunning, and they were kind of like alternate options for weapon attacks. So you could use a long sword to attack, or you could use its like special ability cleave. And I wasn't sure what it did, but a lot of them looked like they would do single term status effects, or they would have different abilities like that. Which, by the way, very, very much like, yeah, it'll make non-magical weapons be more distinct. I think that was their entire point. And I think the best thing about it really was the fact that they would have, what was it? Oh, yeah, yeah. Was that it was trying to be more like Pathfinder. Which, admittedly, I am not a big Pathfinder fan. However, I do understand that part of the Pathfinder system being popular with other people, because it gives more weapons that aren't meta, so to speak, an option, or make them a better option on the battlefield. So, for example, the lighter weapons, the kind of worse ones, uh, definitely not doing that bullshit. Yeah. So the idea was like if you picked up a light hammer or a light axe, it wasn't just the same exact thing as a dagger. It had other options. And, other options that were kind of like an ult attack, but still, an ult attack is better than literally nothing. And I think it also applied with magic attacks to a degree. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's perfectly reasonable. I just got my teeth into fantasy games and never let go. But I think that also had a lot to do with me being the one running them. So I was never like I was never burnt out on it by like other people playing it with me, and I was like, oh man, I'm tired of this shit. Yeah, it was never that serious. Fighting against elves. Maybe we will just do him and we'll head north instead of being a dick to our neighbors. Holds many secrets left behind by the old ones. We should be just fine. See, this is one of the issues that I have with Saurus is just you get knocked out of the game pretty quick. Mm. But yeah, if there's one of those videos that I recommend, I actually recommend the making of Space Marines more than the Skaven one, because if I'm being honest, the Skaven have so little lore that it actually kind of ticks me off, and I've read less books in that series of books. I've read some of them, and I've read portions of others, and I've gone through the quotes and the reference material that is available for free online, but I really am not as knowledgeable about them as I am about, say, Chaos Humans or anything like that. And of course, there are fantasy people who know a lot more than me, and I don't want to bring my tourist mind into Warhammer Fantasy. Hey, nice. Trying to not bang harpies. I mean, there are no male harpies. Just kidding. Um, Yeah, the Finneran have they so this is the one where they're all guardsmen on a D&D universe, right? Or in a D&D world. That makes a lot of sense because they are because that's kind of a interesting system for them. But yeah, harpies are dangerous and they eat men. In multiple different ways, but still dangerous creatures. Are you modifying them at all from the art or anything? Because that is perfectly reasonable option to swap out the art. Because to be entirely real, uh, I took that shit from like a bunch of other different options because it was kind of like generic light infantry with backpacks artists. But I believe it is semi-canon, or at least it is a sketch of something similar to them. Also, damn, being light infantry in the mountains must suck. Not as much as being like armor or mechanized in the mountains, but at least I would like to be motorized in the mountains so that I don't have to deal with like walking for days and days and days and days over mountain ranges. Also, especially in like a Himalayas equivalent. I mean, if it's a long set of Himalayas, there's no point in being motorized because you're not going to go anywhere. There's no roads. But hey, there's things like snow skis and various motorized snowborne uh, vehicles that you could use. Admittedly, 40k doesn't really go onto snow worlds all that much because there's not a lot of resources on really snowy planets. Yep, that's exactly how I look at them. My buddy Dante was just a Scottish stereotype, except he didn't drink all that heavily. Nor did he use heroin. So maybe not a true Glaswegian Scot, but he was Scottish in his accent, and I did my best to stick with that. Heavily mechanized. Yep. Alternate regiment more suited for it. Yeah. See, heavy mechanization is one of the mobility aspect of heavy mechanization is one of its biggest downfalls. Because as much as the Chimera can move really fast over like relatively easy terrain, including like roads, on roads it will never match the speed of something like a half-ton truck. All right, Jack X, we're gonna get you into the fight. gonna get rid of that. And we're gonna grab this, maybe? And just zigger out of the old ones. I don't think I can... Okay, so in order to get that, I need, like, some hella useful stuff. Okay. Expensive, but worth. Alright. Gonna go up here. Grab this, grab another one of these. Cheap archer units are always a good pick. Always. Yeah, the other disadvantage with heavy mechanization is just, yeah, the Chimera has a hard time doing its job. Yep, they keep getting stuck. That was one of the things in Vietnam and Korea. We were experimenting with a lot of medium and light mechanized vehicles. The US Army, that is. And we were just getting so many problems with them that we kind of just decided that it wasn't worth it anymore. Because they would keep getting stuck and keep getting ambushed, and the only option was to move to something lighter, and at the time, the only lighter thing was like the M113. And the M113 works, but it's literally penetrable by like 7.92mm ammunition. So regular AKs, RPDs, and stuff could kill the M113 or kill people inside of it. Not to mention that anything heavier than that would just gut the M113. And then out of that came the Bradley, eventually. Eventually. Not right at the beginning, but we got it eventually. Which, you know, not really our fault. Took us, you know, 2 entire wars, but let's be real. What army innovates quickly anyway? Not many. Not many armies innovate very quickly at all. Alright. Couple of those. Yeah. The Chimera at least has weapons all around, which is one of the things that I like about the Chimera. As dumb as the design is, it does mirror the OG Bradley, because the OG Bradley also had pistol ports and rifle ports on the ass end. And it was designed for you to stick your M4 out. They even made shorter versions of the M4 that were stuck into the Bradley. But once they figured out that the Bradley's ports were going to be closed up because it was the dumbest idea known to man, they wised up real quick, and now those M4s, or M6, at the time it was M16s, sorry. Those M16s have kind of become a funny little historical oddity, but I like them. T-55s, yes. But it would actually be more common for them to have T-34s. Which, again, not bad, and I agree, having a tank combat doctrine is nice, but the US tank combat doctrine was based on, eventually, the Sheridan, but before that, it was the Walker Bulldog and the Chaffee, I think. So, yeah. The Walker Bulldog and the Chaffee, both good, both very capable, both pretty much immune to small arms fire. The only issue was that they would run into things like tank traps, or they would get stuck a good portion of the time. But even then, the Walker Bulldog is relatively thin, relatively high off the ground. And, if I remember right, it had a 90mm gun. So it was actually pretty capable of going up against other tanks of its size. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, with the T-34, it was easier than with any of the other ones, because the T-34 is relatively light. The T-50s, and the T-44 as well, are a lot wider than... What the fuck? Why are you helping the... What? Why are you helping them? We're not even enemies. You're a dick. Yeah. Perfectly reasonable. The big issue with Jungle Warfare to a degree with tanks is just the ranges at which you have to engage. Because it super sucks to be like, basically having to engage every enemy at point blank range. And at the time, we didn't really have the night vision that we have today. Well, the Shillelagh missile is bad, but that's I wouldn't really judge the Sheridan by that. I would judge the Sheridan by the fact that it had a 155mm gun with high explosive in it. You know, for removing pillboxes or whatever else you'd like to get rid of. Not to mention the fact that it was, light as hell, and it could be relatively easily transported to other areas. Oh yeah, the missile shit, no question. Then again, it's an early anti-tank missile. Which of them wasn't terrible? like, the first generation anti-tank missiles, they're all bad. None of them are really that good. The RPG-2 even wasn't all that great. I would legitimately take an OG. I would take an OG Panzerfaust versus an RPG-2 for quite a few reasons, but right off the top of my head, I would take the Panzerfaust because it's lighter. And it has, worse range, but way better penetration and killing power than the RPG-2. If I remember right, because the RPG-2 is less than 200 millimeters, the Panzerfaust is 210 or 180, if I remember right. But I might have that mixed up. But either way, I'd rather take that just for ease of use and also for confidence and weight. Alright, let's deal with this. One vehicle kill with the missile, I think, in Desert Storm. Oh my god. Imagine being a Sheridan operator in Desert Storm. That would be depressing. Genuinely. It's like I'm in this literal aluminum box that is next to all the other aluminum boxes, but my aluminum box is just particularly terrible. And then you end up in, modern warfare, essentially. Or as modern as you can get. Desert Storm was a shit show, though, for almost everyone on every side. I think it almost would have been better if something had actually, changed the dynamics of that conflict, because all that it was on, now looking back, we realize that all the things that they were worried about wasn't really a problem. They were worried like, oh, chemical gas is going to be used, nuclear weapons, radioactive material. Like, they were just so worried about the chemical weapon stuff, and about just, Saddam's tanks and his air force, and then none of that shit ended up being a problem whatsoever. And the Iraqi Air Force just got steamrolled, and they buried their fucking aircraft in the ground. Yeah. I can understand anti-tank rifles, by the way. I am a large enjoyer of anti-tank rifles. And anti-material rifles in general, but anti-tank rifles in particular I'm a big fan of. From back in the day, obviously. I did have a couple of concepts for weapons that were similar to those, or kind of were replacements for them using modern tech. But yeah, as far as disposable launchers go, I think that they have their place, and that place is in urban environments, basically. And not many other places. Mostly because of the range limitations. Nowadays, we have some very expensive anti-tank weapons. I'm looking at you, Javelin, but also the Javelin is horrifyingly effective. So, it's not even really all that much of a disadvantage to have a couple of them around. It's like maximum effectiveness plus it's got really good range and incredible killing power. So it's like all of the positives of a mobile anti-tank weapon and none of the negatives. Alright, we're gonna stop for 1 second. Going to send out some of the boys. Gonna go like this. Again, sending out the boys. Bumping Heavy and the boys. U.S. tech is advanced when you have to wonder if using our anti-tank weapons and Soviet-era armor is a positive trade. Look, I legitimately, I think I almost had a straight-up heart attack when I saw that the Russians were putting T-44 tanks. No, what was the oldest one they used? They weren't bringing T-34s out, and there weren't enough T-44s to actually go around. I think it was they were actually bringing out T-55s and T-54s and using them on a modern-day battlefield. I think I literally blew, like, an actual gasket. Like, I came close to having a genuine aneurysm because as a history guy, as somebody who You know, that belongs in a museum. Literally, I was like, this is horrible. You're taking something that is a beautiful museum piece, literal artifact, like not even like a funny haha that thing's an artifact, literal artifact. You know, I'm no Soviet nerd, and I don't like their tanks or dislike their tanks any more than ours. You know, there are some advantages, some disadvantages, but the fact that you're like rolling out these genuine museum pieces onto the battlefield really, really got me upset when I first saw it, and I was reading the news, and I was like, you're kidding me. You couldn't have found something better? Like, really? You had to bring out a T-55? A really, really nice Cold War era tank? And you're using that? Like, it pissed me off. It really did. Yeah, a 250... Yeah. Look, the T-62... The T-64, by the way, I am a huge T-64 fan. Like, I know that history hasn't been kind to it because it had so many flaws at the beginning, but I love the T-64. It is one of my favorite tanks. 100% one of my favorite tanks. And I don't even care that it has all these flaws. I genuinely still love it despite its flaws. Because it was so far ahead of its time. And that's, let's be honest, that's why it suffered. It suffered so many issues at the beginning because it was so far advanced that it just wasn't really ready yet when they brought it out and decided to try and make it a big thing. The T-62, I could take it or leave it. I understand why they would bring it out. It still has a nice anti-tank gun. Yeah. Yeah, they lied about everything, but let's be real. It's the Soviet Union, minus, like, all of its brain cells, so are we really surprised that they were lying? Is anyone surprised that they were lying? I hope not. I hope nobody's that stupid. We knew Russia had a severe corruption problem. The literal news, like the actual news in Russia, told us that they had a severe corruption problem. And they were selling off so much equipment that they basically weren't able to arm their own army. Is anyone surprised? I'm not surprised. No one should have been surprised that they were going to have a hard time either. Alright. Alright. Come on, Bastillodon, I know you got this. Yeah, regen, buddy, regen. Regen, buddy, regen. Yeah, and that, Chekx, we're good here. We're all good. See, the Ukrainians as well, they pulled out a bunch. Look, it doesn't make me as upset, because the Russians have no good reason for bringing those tanks out of what should be museum storage. You know, they're raiding Kubinka to go do this shit. The Ukrainians, I think it's a little bit more okay for them, but I saw them rolling a T-34-85 off of a plinth outside of a museum, and that shit hurt me too. I was like, oh, dude. Like a Victory Day T-34-85. Not like some random one that was in somebody's garage somewhere. A genuine, like, colored up, spray-painted 1980s venerable tank. Not 1980s, like 1940s venerable T-34-85 with its 85mm gun and everything. It was just a little bit painful to see, but I think I can live with it, considering that they were trying to not kill themselves, or trying to not get killed rather. You know, when somebody's trying to murder you, you make every possible option that you can, and even if it hurts us, we're not the ones getting our homes invaded and having our lives thrown upside down, so I can't really complain all that much. All I can do is be sad. Modern anti-tank weapons. Yeah, mobile gun systems, I mean, there's something to be said about them, but the real issue is that the armor mobility and whatever, the like trio of factors, they'll keep going around in a circle until they just end up back at where they started. So if you get a tank that's incredibly mobile, super well armored, and has a great gun, you no longer have a tank. You have a literal pipe dream. It's just not going to happen. So I don't think you're going to see a major shift to anything, mostly because main battle tanks are so valuable and relatively lucrative that you're just not going to see that as often. But I think that a lot of minor nations will end up making their own very good, well-armored APCs. Because really, the bar has just moved. You know, we haven't gone away from armor being good. It's just what you need, what protection you need to have armor be good. Now, it needs to be resistant to those handheld, disposable anti-tank weapons like the RPG-7. Okay, that's a much higher ceiling than World War II, when it had to be resistant or immune to 12.7 millimeter armor-piercing rifle round. You know, anti-tank rifle rounds. It's like, okay, that's a change. That requires a little bit more change to our doctrine, but it's still not like an impossible threshold at the time for armored vehicle technology. And then later on, we changed again, and, you know, APCs became the goal. And I think a great example of those minor nations eventually making more and more powerful and capable vehicles is the Namnir. The Namnir, or the Namir, or the Namnir armored, the armored personnel carrier from Israel that was built off of the Merkava chassis. And it was really good. They only had like 70 of them when they got invaded. But they still had 70 of them. And as far as I know, at least one of them got knocked out. I watched it get knocked out. I watched the video that showed it getting knocked out. But at least one has been knocked out. But still, those things where they take a tank chassis and they turn it into an APC, I feel like, especially amongst minor nations, that's going to become more common. And we're going to see a lot of weird things. China has made a ton of super, super weird decisions with their APC program, mostly because Norinco is not a real company, and they're owned by the Communist Party instead of being owned by a private interest, so they can kind of just change things on the fly, and they have to deal with it. Hi, yes, today is a happy day, I agree. The Cold War stocks and a million M113s. See, here's the thing. We sold off a lot of the M113s. Reasonably so, because they're not all that useful. But we don't really have what Russia has, which is like the fields and fields of defunct vehicles. I mean, we have some. I would say in the thousands, perhaps. But not in the millions. At least I would estimate probably not in the millions. But who knows? Who knows what the United States is hiding? We literally hoard military tech all the damn time, so God knows what we have. It's between God and Uncle Sam now. Which is fine by me. I don't want to know what we have in storage. That shit scares me. I mean, here's the other unfortunate thing. I feel like because we have so many private vehicles, you know, so many Americans have cars, we don't need M113 carriers to move about something like the National Guard or militia groups. We literally don't. We have enough pickup trucks to move the entire nation's population almost heavily armed to any battlefield on the planet, basically. Or not on the planet, but within the country. So, you know, the classic thing is like, well, what if the Japanese had invaded the United States? It would have been bad back then for the Japanese to try and do that. If they did it in the modern day, they would be facing literally millions of light infantry divisions. I'm not talking light companies here. These are not small formations. Divisions of American light infantry that are just good old boy militia with rifles and shotguns. That is pretty much what the defense plan of the United States would be. It would be, alright, we're going to have a broadcast of everywhere where a foreign enemy has touched the ground. And then every single, you know, trucker within a 30-mile radius is just going to pick up all the militia boys and perform the great Japanese assault tactic of run at them with bayonets and rifles. Or we go back to the good old-fashioned Revolutionary War tactics, and we start hiding behind trees and shooting them with sniper rifles. Yes, I am aware that that's not actually how we did it in the Revolutionary War. I'm just being funny. Most of the Revolutionary War was fought using traditional combat styles, in the traditional line of battle, the traditional way. However, it is funny when I say that it was basically a bunch of good old boys with rifles. So I'm going to keep saying it's that, even if it's facetious. Alright, you are staying in the fight, my friend. I have put way too much effort into that fight. What's the good news? Channel about the original universe? That's nice. Good to see it, bud. About your original universe? What's your original universe, bud? Is this like a sub-lore thing? Either way, sounds pretty cool. I'm glad that you're getting traction, man. That's really nice to see. Any inspiration to traction is a very important thing in our lore universe. Oh yeah, you have. Really sorry about Canada, by the way. I didn't realize what kind of state your military was in until recently. I'm really sorry. Are you guys, like, planning on doing anything about that? 'Cause it frightens me how not ready the Canadian Army is for any threat, foreign or domestic. Like, from what I saw in the white paper and in the sheets that I was reading, the Canadian Army basically consists of your equivalent to the National Guard, one battalion tactical group plus a battalion tactical group of special forces. And from what I saw, that was it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but outside of things that you had in deep storage, is that all of your active military? Like, that honestly, like, that frightens me, for real. If that's all that they have, that scares me. I hope that it's not. I really hope that I'm wrong. But that was what I read. It's basically like 2 BCTs, 2 battalion tactical groups of... Oh, Jesus Christ. Hello, Australian. We're talking about the militaries of different countries. And your military is... Well, your military is getting better slightly over time. We did just give you a giant submarine fleet, which was nice. That is something that you guys have been complaining about, is that your diesel subs suck ass, because they're from, like, the 90s. Which, admittedly, yeah, your diesel subs were terrible. So we gave you, I think it was 27 or 19 submarines in place of them. I forget what it was in exchange for. Might have been a trade deal of some kind, but yeah. We recently gave you a bunch of much, much better improved submarines. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Australians have something similar to the French Daguet, but it's much heavier and it's less focused on, like, foreign forces. Don't you guys have, like, a French Foreign Legion type of military organization? Oh, yeah. Yeah, state militias. Oh my god, of course state militias is. Here's the interesting thing. If you look through the order of battle for the Ukrainian war, you can actually see all of the different state militias and the border guard regiments. And they're just wild, because these are literally like good old boys formations. It's just a bunch of Ukrainian civilians who took up arms against invasion. And yeah, the United States still has a pretty solid reserve militia system, essentially, and that's what the state militia is. And, you know, the National Guard is one thing. Those guys are really well armed. See, that's the creepy thing. Like, our National Guard is the equivalent of some other nation's militaries, which is embarrassing for other nations, but it is also sadly true. Like, I hate to talk shit about our allies as much as the next man, but we also have some enemies who our National Guard could whip their actual military's ass. And it's mostly because we have a National Guard that is slave to our actual military. Some people, like the Ukrainians, they have a National Guard, that is not as related to their military, so it works more like the Ukrainian border guards. But yeah, our National Guard is actually provided for by the military, actually trained by the military, actually has surplus military vehicles, instead of just having to like source all of their own shit. Yeah, yes, our militias are better armed than some small nations. You want to? Yeah, separatist insanity happens everywhere. Yes, and that's the reason for both militias and for the National Guard. See, the National Guard, they're a little bit like a combo between FEMA and the military, whereas our militias are just a legit military. But here's the thing, the US has a very long tradition of valuing the state militia. Because if you remember, all of the original rebellions and revolutions within the US, the attempts to overthrow the initial government, the attempts to overthrow the government that overthrew the government, all of those, the Whiskey Rebellion, Shays Rebellion, they were essentially both organized and put down by the state militia. That was back before we had an official military system, but still, we have a long history of this. 35,000 active members? Oh my god. Oh my god, that's even worse than I remember. That's so sad. 35,000 active members? Yeah, that's about on par with like two BCTs. I knew they had one special forces unit left that was of BCT strength. And that was where most of their light vehicles were, and then they had one heavier armored one, but it was like armored with tanks from the 90s, and I think they're probably all in a scrap heap in Ukraine by now. Man, that's like it makes me sad when certain nations that once or at one point had very well organized and well manned militaries kind of fall apart. It's the same way when I look at the Swedish Navy and I see like what they used to have and all the cool ships that they were making and all the things they were working on, and then the Cold War comes and their navy just no. Just the Swedish Navy just dies. All of these heavy cruiser designs and good destroyers and frigates and stuff, just no. Just all of them get scrapped essentially, and they go to a full solid thing. It's sad. I was such a big fan of the late war Swedish heavy cruisers because they were really good, and they had big guns, and they were pocket battleship type deal. Yeah, with terrible armor, but pocket battleship, very cool. World conflict and Soviet assault? I have not. National Guard. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the Soviet military is pretty nasty, but let's be honest, the Soviets have basically very rarely engaged in a nation to nation fight where they had to go onto a beach and do a Normandy style landing. And in the 90s, they still would have had to do that. So, or sorry, in the 70s, because that was the highest chance that there would be an invasion from the Soviet Union. Government being a jock, I assume that is an Australian insult. But see, here's the thing. Australia is actually doing something to protect itself. They are. They really are. And I'm proud of them for doing this. I know. I have no, area to talk about being proud of another nation. That's stupid of me to even say. But, but, the Australians are actually part of the AUKUS Pact. They are actually attempting to cultivate good relations with their neighbors in the local area. And what is technically more important is they're aware that they're in a geopolitically dangerous spot with China. And, there are some countries that don't realize that just yet. There are some that are kind of halfway there, and they're kind of realizing, like, oh, crap, maybe disarming ourselves after the end of the Cold War was not a great idea. But Australia is actually making some decent progress towards not necessarily full rearmament, but at the very least, they are making an effort to become better armed, which I can respect and 100% be behind. Before they were cratered. 10 leopards? Which version of the leopard did you send over there? Also, please don't tell me that was your only 10 leopards. Because if you tell me the Canadian government... If you tell me the Canadian government spent the whatever, $10 million, $15 million to buy leopards, and then sent them over to get cratered, and that was all the leopards you had, I'm gonna be pissed. Please tell me that wasn't all the leopards you had. I'm gonna hope and pray that you're not, that wasn't all the leopards that Canada had. I mean, it's not much, but that might be all you could afford. Leopards are expensive. So are the K2s, but, like, at least K2s are relatively better than the leopard. Relatively. Don't jump on me for that. I know there's a lot of, like, Leopard 2A7B fans, but the K2's just a better leopard, in many cases, and with some of its designs. Getting the vibe? Not much of a fan of NATO's military, because it doesn't interest me a lot. Agreed, because it's not a military. It's a disunified, nightmarish, multi-headed monster. The United States, on the other hand, is the same thing, except it's way, way, way more expensive and way bigger. Japanese's current armament strategy, building up the fleet and air force, keep the chests out of their waters, not fighting land battles. Yeah, that is what they're doing. Though I would also add that they too are buying leopards. Which is interesting, because there's some people who claim, not me, I don't claim this, there's some people that claim that the leopard has very simply reached the end of her service life. No matter what version you're using. Oh, the ones you made out of parts, so they were license-produced? Is that what you're saying, is that these were license-produced leopards? That's not bad. License producing is nice. It helps actually build your economy, at least. Still better than the Kiwis. Have dignity and the Maoris, and that's about it. I only understood a couple of those words, Australian man, but thank you. News about space exploration? I ain't no scientist. However, there has been some news about going to Mars. I don't really care, but Elon Musk does. And, he has enough money to make me care, so works for me. It's a silly thing to just be like, oh, we're going to Mars, but at the same time, it's like, why the fuck not? We're the United States. If I want to go to Mars, I'll go to fucking Mars. I shouldn't be that flippant about it, but it's true. If I want to go to Mars, I'll go to Mars. Got the money, got the time, got the resources. Have the technology for the most part. Like a very small boat. It's a joke. That would be like a Corvette, I assume, something similar to that. Which, there was another nation once upon a time that had a mostly Corvette navy. Corvette and smaller, PT boats and things like that as well. And that was their entire navy. They're smaller than Corvettes? That's the smallest naval warships. Are these PT boats? Because, much as I respect PT boats, it's sad if their entire navy is just PT boats. Oh yeah, they would be great allies. See, here's the thing. I am kind of sad that that is the case. However, keep in mind, positive thing here, let's be positive. At least they're not enemies. And they have mutual defense pacts, to a degree, with AUKUS. Or they will. They're getting there. Alright, it's going to be 4 turns until I get him. We're going to get a cheap Kroxigor Ancient. And, I think we're just going to get some cheapo units. Yep. China going to land on the moon in 2029. I mean, the Chinese being by the words of their own government, a developing, aka third world nation, and yet they have a space program, is just pure irony. And, you know, it's okay. I respect the grift, but I don't know. The Chinese space program just strikes me as a massive PR stunt. Mostly because of the other things that they do, which are basically just massive PR stunts. Personal boat that you go fishing on? Yeah. Yeah, true. Or, well, I don't know. PT boats used to be pretty good back in the day. We had a lot of them. The U.S. had a lot of PT boats, the Mosquito Navy that the Japanese complained about. But that was mostly because the Japanese didn't have a lot of good secondary armaments for dealing with PT boats. And they didn't have any radar technology to protect themselves at night. So, the good old Mosquito fleet. I mean, the difference with our PR stunt is we were the first ones to do it. So. And I will also have you remember that we had a certain other nation breathing down our neck, trying to make us look bad by getting there first. Was the space race a smart idea with correct economical reasoning behind it? No. Was it ever going to be? Secondary no. History doesn't really give a shit about the person in second place, though, so there's not really much worry about that. Again, I'm not going to justify anything that the U.S. did in the Cold War outside of saying, believe me, it made sense at the moment, even if it doesn't now. Because plenty of things that we did in the Cold War, tank designs, gun designs, army concepts, believe me, it made sense then. We have never had as many military minds looking at the idea of another world war than we did during the Cold War. And it's very doubtful that we will ever have that many military minds looking at it ever again. So, believe me, if there was an idea that came up during the Cold War, yeah, it's full of, it's not practical, but fuck it, it's cool. Yeah, nuclear armies would literally be my best example. It's the idea of, like, well, there's a chance that we're going to have to fight in a nuclear environment. It's not a high chance, but there's a chance. So we may as well prep for that kind of warfare. And, you know, to be honest, I'm kind of glad they did it. Just so that they could say, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Because it wasn't. So yeah, I don't know. That seems like, to me, like we're never going to get back to that level of to that mentality of warfare where we're like, we need to be ready 100% at all times, and there needs to be no question about how this is going to go down. Space race against China to get the first moon base? I mean, so, okay. There's a lot of arguments about whether or not fighting a war in space is, like, reasonable or a smart idea. Here's my take. The pride for all mankind to see the first baby born on the moon. I don't want to see the first baby born on the moon if it's there for political propaganda reasons. I don't want to see that. I would prefer the Prey style of the advancement of humankind, where we reach out to the stars together as one people on a unified Earth with relative peace. That's sappy as hell, I know, but that's what I would prefer. That's just me. But yeah, there's a lot of pluses and minuses. So, who is the astrophysics guy who was, like, shitting on weapons in space a while ago? What's his name? He's really smart. Something, I forget his damn name. Neil deGrasse Tyson, that was what it was. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, at some point, went on a talk show, and he was talking about, like, why the hell would you want to put nukes in space? Why would you want to put nukes in space? Why would you want to put any weapons in space when we can already do that on Earth? He's kind of wrong. And here's the reason. You wouldn't want to put nuclear weapons in space. Correct. You wouldn't want to do that. That is a waste of resources and is definitely not going to get you the kind of peace and security that we want. Remember, the US does most of the things that it does in the name of peace and international security, generally. Not going to say that it's all for that reason, but in general, the idea is that we want to decrease the amount of issues in the world. The Indian space program, dude? Oh. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. I don't know, man. In India has its own house to clean up before they go having space bases on the moon. They have a difficult history within their country. And I wish them all the best, but I'm not going to hold my breath for them being the first people to get a base on the moon. And you might say I am biased as an American, and you're right, I am. I'll be honest. However, I think that they will have a much harder time of it than the U.S. did, or would. And the other thing is, we have the ISS already, so is there much of a concern about that kind of thing? I don't think so. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, we basically haven't had a president for the last 4 years, so we've had a very interesting time of it over here. I'm not gonna make any of my political opinions known, but yeah, things are going on, things are occurring, and in my opinion, it has been a long time since House was cleaned, and House needed cleaning. And that's the result, as unfortunate as it is, of our current leadership situation. Need of change has resulted in radical change. Surprise, surprise. No one is surprised, nor should anyone be surprised. Anyone who was genuinely shocked by that decision, you haven't been paying close enough attention to American politics. Sorry, but you really haven't. That was coming a mile away. No one should have been surprised if they were actually paying attention to politics. Plenty of Americans were, but plenty of Americans don't pay attention to our own politics, interestingly enough. Yeah. Here's the thing. Sorry, I forgot where I left off. About orbital weapons and nuclear weapons, there's two reasons to put weapons in space. The first one is the one that the U.S. just actually greenlit recently, which was a restarting of the Star Wars program. Oh, I got you. Yeah, so the big thing was the restarting of the Star Wars program. And Star Wars originally was an idea where we would put up satellites into space to shoot down nuclear reentry vehicles and prevent them from entering the atmosphere. One, that's a really good idea, and it was shot down because it technically counted as putting weapons into space, which in my opinion is not a great plan. Or sorry, it was not a great ruling. Essentially, the idea was, well, the Soviet Union or the United States might put nuclear weapons into space. Result, there's a convention against putting nuclear weapons into space. Okay, fine. For the moment, that's fine. But, result of that, now that we have restarted that program, it means that nuclear reentry vehicles are no longer just the perfect option that they used to be. And of course, U.S. military, if there's a protection system, that's a pretty solid idea. Yeah, lessen the chance of Armageddon. I am all on board with that idea, because if it's just for defensive use, then I don't see any negative, reason to not put a Star Wars type system into existence. The other thing is, it will help us create cheaper space and aircraft. So, even as a development program, it will improve overall space efficiency, so I'm on board with it. So something of that nature is a good idea. Yeah. See, the thing is, the rest of the world sees the United States basically through U.S. media, and if there's anything that we've learned in the last 4 years, it's that the U.S. media literally lies. And if there's anything that we learned in the last 4 days, it's that the U.S. media has been paid by the U.S. government to lie to both the international community and to the United States people, which is messed up, but it's something that is now confirmed as true. If you want to look that up, it's you know, USAID got basically shown as committing fraudulent money to run political interference on various independent quote-unquote media systems. No need to talk about that, but that's an actual thing that happened. Definitely has given a lot of the conspiracy theorist fans some ammunition. But then again, the US is the center of, like, so many conspiracy theories, so you can believe or not believe as you choose. New season of Invincible looks pretty cool. I haven't watched much of it. I watched the original first few because I was like, oh, cool, funny. Thing that used to be a comic book that was not bad. I thought the comic book was nice. Not as good as The Boys. Though I think The Boys had a bit of an advantage in that they're, like, they had the option of both doing live action and of doing animated. And I think both versions of The Boys, both the comic actual TV show and the less comic actual animated series, were both very, very good. Dark superhero stuff is pretty fun to do. Star Wars Legends fan? If by Legends you mean like the original lore and Starkiller and all that kind of stuff, yes. If you mean the TV show Legends, I could take it or leave it. I like that Maul is in it, but there's really no other characters in Legends that I care much about. There's some that tie in with it that are nice, because they're from the Clone Wars, and that's what I grew up with. Yeah, a cleaning out was needed desperately. That's really the biggest issue with why that happened. Yep. Yep. See, it's the whole thing with politics. It swings one direction, and then it swings the other direction. And all that you really gotta worry about is making sure that it doesn't go too far in one way. In the opinion of most people, it was going too far in one direction. The result has been that an overcorrection, or just perhaps a correction in general, has been made to avoid the negative repercussions of going too far one way. Can't have too far left or right. No, and you can also have too much centrism. That is also a bad thing. Weimar Republic? Anyone? Please die. Thank you. See, this is the fun thing. You can just obliterate Skaven for fun. Yes, Clone Wars does rock. Yeah, I'm a huge old Star Wars head. I'm not sure if it's a controversial statement. I'm not a big fan of Disney Star Wars, where they didn't take an idea from original stuff. 'Cause at least the movies have been just, like, I don't know if I can hold in my heart the amount of feelings that I have about the movies, and what has happened to something that I used to really love. It's not even entirely their fault, because they were misled and they thought that people would like this, and the result has been that literally everyone has exploded violently. Yeah. Yep, new series not even touching the movies. How was the Ahsoka movie? Because I heard lots of good and or bad things about it. I wasn't really, I wasn't keyed into exactly what the overall, or the over-under was on that. Because some people said it's better than The Acolyte, and I'm like, okay, that's not a high bar. The Acolyte was possibly one of the worst projects that any Star Wars thing has ever touched ever. And then some people said it was just as bad as anything else, and they said that, yeah, Ahsoka should have died in Rebels. I think I miss the old gray lady. Not Mara, yeah, Mara Jade. I wish that, I wish that someone, not Disney, but someone would take her on as a project, because she was an actual Grey Jedi. All of this stuff where they're saying that, Ahsoka's a Grey Jedi, and she's learned how to... That really wasn't the point. The Grey Jedi were supposed to be a completely different sub-faction. They weren't... The idea that you would be a Jedi and then become a Grey Jedi was... Or become a Grey Force user or a Grey Jedi was not really as tapped as it has been, because now we just see it as like, oh, it's a straight-up process of, like, You lose faith in the Force, but you retain your powers, Grey Jedi. Back in the day, it was a much more complicated and much more specific process that resulted in Grey Jedi being the thing that you were. The rest sucked. George hate Mara? If you're talking about George Lucas, probably. I think George Lucas has just decided that he's doing nothing out of spite and pretending he's going to do something also out of spite. Which I respect. I can understand the hatred. Drifted away from the military stuff. Sorry, one sec. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV and movies and stuff anymore because I'm busy, but I did hear that Arcane was rather good. My college folks, my roommates and stuff, they were big fans of Arcane. Again, it's funny, it would be like, "Oh yeah, hey, you want to come watch Arcane with us?" And I'm like, "I'm working on my dissertation, please leave me alone." So for a large portion of the time while Arcane was airing, I was shut up in a lightless room attempting to write very, very long academic papers. So I didn't really have a chance to enjoy it, but I was told it was nice. And also, here's the other thing. When that came out, or around the time that that came out, was the anniversary of the show Chernobyl. And it is a rule of mine that I will watch Chernobyl at least once a year. Because it is literally my favorite show next to Hannibal. I love Hannibal so much. So much. Red Dragon 2. Just everything with Hannibal. Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, both versions of Red Dragon, the TV show, the background to the TV show. I ate it up. I loved it and still love it so much. But Chernobyl was just one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. Easy kill. Easy kill. Easy kill. Loot. Alright. Sorry. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Since I do these long streams, I give you guys lots of time to talk about different stuff, whether it's politics, whether it's videos, whether it's anything, and of course you guys can always ask questions, which I encourage you to do. I am an open book man. I will never mislead you about my activities unless there's something secret that I need to keep from you for a funny surprise factor. And so far there hasn't been. Okay, Uprising. I don't care about Uprising. Sorry. Bitch death, as in lamb. Get to live on through the Force. What the fuck? Yeah, that was the other thing. Force ghosts have become really, really endemic as like a why isn't certain individuals a Force ghost? Like, why isn't Leia a Force ghost? Or why isn't Jake a Force ghost? That was the other thing. Like, the whole Jake Skywalker thing and the whole subplot with this whole Skywalker family, I thought that could have been explored so much easier. Because, you know, the original idea with the new Disney movies was, well, we don't have to have everyone be related, and, you know, not everyone needs to be someone's family member or part of somebody else's story. We could write our own stories. And then you just wrote Luke Skywalker back into it. Like, the fuck? You pretended like you were going to do something new and unique, and they just wrote Luke Skywalker back into it. Like, for real? For real? Like, that's how deep the well is with you guys? Apparently they couldn't go any deeper than just writing Luke back into it, and then giving him quite possibly the worst possible supporting role of any Star Wars character ever. I would have preferred if that was literally Chewbacca. Literally, Chewie was the only original in that movie. I would have loved it. Because they would have required that they actually made decent things. And they did. Sorry. Yeah. Thrawn. Thrawn's solid. Thrawn, like, the idea of him as a TV show, the idea of him as a character, the consistency of him so far from what I've seen of various projects that are using him. Mwah. Absolute kiss. I've also seen mixed things about The Mandalorian. Like, myself personally, I thought that there were some silly things in it, lore-wise, where they were taking, like, the idea of, well, Boba Fett is a Mandalorian, so, of course, Boba Fett is like any other Mandalorian, whereas Boba Fett isn't even technically a Mandalorian, he's a clone. Jango Fett isn't a Mandalorian either, technically. Which, you know, that's just a me lore nerd thing. Sorry, yeah, Jango is a Mandalorian, where his armor's OG, and then Boba's not. That's what it was. And they were treating Boba Fett as if he was somehow a Mandalorian. Also, the obsession with Mandalore has just gone really far. Can we, like, hey, can we, like, maybe do... You know what would be great? Good project for them to do at some point. If they're so worried about doing, you know, diversity-esque, high-profile, politically indicative content for Star Wars, maybe not the best idea, but if they want to do that, why don't you do the Twi'lek Uprising? For real. Like, if you want to talk about war crimes, violence, rising up against the man, harsh themes of death and murder, all this kind of stuff, why would you not do the Twi'lek Uprising and the Twi'lek slavery? Like, it's just easy fodder. And, you know, I only say that because Star Wars has essentially stayed away from the fact that this entire race of people have been enslaved for the entirety of its history. And, yeah, Ryloth's entire history. Please, can we get Ryloth's whole history? Because I doubt we ever will. But it would be nice, maybe, to have that. And I think of all the things that we could force Disney to do by saying that it's, you know, progressive, and somehow that's a good thing, would be to tell them to do Ryloth. Because that's a great, you know, it's good fodder for them, essentially. It'll get their nose bag filled up, and it'll allow, hopefully, someone who has a single brain cell in their brain to be able to say, hey, let's actually make it canonical and correct with the lore that we have. And for the love of God, can we not just keep pretending like the Clone Wars didn't happen with our movies? Because they do. Yeah. Organized. Yeah, so that's the thing. Disney Star Wars has this really frustrating habit of, they hint at the fact that Star Wars has a dark, seedy underbelly, and admittedly, George did this too. This is not just a... This is yeah, I know you're still at work, buddy. It's okay. I'm not pressuring you. That's why I'm streaming. My buddy here thinks I'm about to kill him for not messaging me. But they keep mentioning, like, the Dark Sun. By the way, they butchered the Black Sun, and just... it wasn't bad. I just really wish that Maul had had a better ending than being the leader of the Dark Sun for all the time that we didn't see him. It's nice to know that Maul's story is actually complete, though. That's nice. But, apart from that, I was like, okay, so you've included the Dark Sun. Do they actually do anything? No. Do they actually make any real difference in the world that we see? No. Why did you include them, then? Like, to a degree, I was a little frustrated with that. But the other thing is, they did, like, lots of syndicate and gang stuff, and I'm like, great, cool. More on that, please? And they never do more on that. But yeah, I thought that was nice. And the Hutts as well. There's mentions of it and some details of it in The Mandalorian, which, you know, good on them. The Hutts are very important out there in the Outer Rim. But, you know, there's a Hutt Jedi that we have never seen outside of some comics. There's lots of Jedi we haven't seen outside of the comics. Sure sounds like the Alpha Legion. Yeah, I don't know. See, this is the thing. I know a lot of people were excited for me to talk about 40K versus Star Wars. And it's cool and all, and I will do it, but you guys aren't ready. Y'all are not ready for my takes on Star Wars versus 40K, because it's not nice. I am not forgiving to Star Wars whatsoever. I'm not mean, you know me, when I analyze things, I'm fair, but I'm also not forgiving. And where Star Wars has stupid lore that shoots itself in the foot, I take advantage. For real. So, be aware of that when I start doing, like, Star Wars versus 40K content, or start talking about, like, Star Wars weapons and armor and stuff. We gonna have we gonna have some issues, I'm sure. Especially with people who are... See, that's the thing. I'm a multifocal nerd, which means I have a lot of different spaces in which my brain, operates non-linearly to create concepts and to connect things. A lot of nerds are just very specific nerds, and they lock on to one particular piece of lore or information or anything like that, and then that's the truth. That's what they hold to, and in order to correctly analyze things using logic, we need to lower and increase certain things, and quite frankly, that's difficult for some people. Not an insult, and by no means. I was like that myself before I found Warhammer, but once I found Warhammer, I started connecting it to real life, and then it was kind of just off to the races with me. Summon a fan with too much time. Well, here's the thing. I want fans with too much time. I want you guys to be able to refer me to friends and just be like, hey, look at this cool video idea, or look at this thing that he said. Do you agree or disagree? Leave an angry comment. Like, it isn't a negative thing for me to have massive, super mega fans who are gonna get mad at me with stuff, because when people send me comments, whether they be hate comments or whether they be kind comments, I learn. I get better at the job. The YouTuber, a fan with too much time. Oh, it's an actual channel. Oh, cool. It's nice to know. I didn't know that. I will look that up. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I am terrified of collaborating with other YouTubers, but that would be cool. It would be nice to collab with somebody over that. It'd be fun. Maybe not the most productive use of our time collectively, but I think pretty fun. Warhammer versus Star Wars? Yeah, I assumed. I will look that up, because it sounds like they have some cool stuff. Alright. Ah, lol, cute. Nom. Oh, what the fuck? I had a Pyrrhic victory on that. That's bullshit. Bullshit. Alright, gonna get a Kroxigor. Yeah, Kroxigor. Weapon Master. Gotta get them buffs, baby. Oh, wow. I don't have money for nothing. I'm gonna get rid of you, and we're just gonna wait. See, this is the great thing. Now I just have an insane economy. Many hours. Good. Good. Huge story going for over 100 episodes. Wow. Both focus on making a good story first. Fun. No fun if 40k stomp Star Wars. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. If you were to put them up universe against universe, 40k would stomp Star Wars. But the other kind of logical fallacy that people do is they put 40k things into Star Wars, and then they apply Star Wars rules, which are not consistent, movie to movie or canon to canon. So, one of the big things is, does the warp exist in Star Wars? Because if the warp doesn't exist in Star Wars, then a ton of 40k stuff just becomes completely pointless and doesn't work anymore. Orcs just cease to exist. Psykers don't matter and don't exist. Imperial ships are incredibly slow, and they don't really have any ability to travel whatsoever, basically. So, as long as you're, melding them together, so, yes, the warp is real, but also we're in the Star Wars universe with a bunch of different planets or something like that. So, yeah, crossing them over in scale is difficult, but at a smaller scale, in little scenario battles, I could understand that being both more reasonable for somebody to spend 100 hours on, and also, honestly, a little bit more fun. I find those smaller engagements to be more fun. I wrote a short story called Charismite and the Sarian way back, and it was just a little look at a single battle from the Sabbat Worlds Crusade. And that was all it was. That was all it was supposed to be. It was just a little fun individual battle where certain extant forces within the canon were fighting other extant forces within the canon. I was like, okay, this is good. This is fun. This is a nice little thing. But really, in that entire fight, there was like the equivalent of maybe 1,000,000 men total. And in the terms of 40k, that is a battle, including an entire planet, but it's relatively small in comparison to a lot of other fights. Alright, so what do we have to work with? We have Bastiladons and solar engines. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna make a pure dinosaur army because Skaven suck. Imperium Force and Azorius 3 Marine Chapters. Sector Battlefield Mechanicus Fleet. Oh my god. During the end of the Clone Wars? Okay. Woof. That's a rough one. I'm not gonna lie. That's rough. See, Astartes just kind of trash a lot of Imperial stuff. Because everyone uses lasers, almost no small arms will work against Astartes. Granted, Star Wars lasers are actually ionized plasma, so it is actually plasma, but it's been made pretty damn clear that that stuff can't do much against reinforced steel, and against ceramic armor, I think, to a degree, a Hellgun would be on par. Or slightly better at penetration as opposed to a standard blaster. Blaster rifle, you might be looking at something a little bit closer to a Hellgun, or even, equivalent to it. But in terms of range and ammunition and all that, it's rough to get rid of Marines. You need heavy weapons or tank weapons, or missiles, rockets, that kind of stuff. But there's very few melee weapons within Star Wars. Funnily enough, even though it's Star Wars, where the main funny weapon is a melee weapon, but still, it's not actually all that great for pure melee. It's not all that great as a setting in terms of its pure melee capabilities. Alright, we're just gonna straight up run it. Run him for his foams. Alright, and 1, 2, 3. Just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think that's gonna be it. Evacuating sector from the Neds ended up fleeing into another galaxy. Oh! Oh, Gene Stealers into Star Wars. That's way, way worse. Hard enough to penetrate Dreadnought armor. That sounds cool as hell. So this dude has a YouTube channel, right? Because that sounds really cool. Jesus. See, this is a few times where I'm like, Tempestus Scions fighting clones with jetpacks and rappels on the side of a skyscraper. That is really cool. Except for the whole, Scions have a significant advantage in that scenario. Mostly in the fact that they have full auto, and the clones really don't. Yeah, that's the other big disadvantage with Star Wars, is the lack of fully automatic weaponry. Krieg versus clones, I mean, the clones have the advantage there. The Kriegers are just better soldiers, all in all, for the most part. So, yeah. I don't know. Krieger warfare wouldn't work well against clones, because clones are very tactical. Guardsmen and clone are considered similar levels? Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they should be. They are a similar level in terms of, like, basically everything. The only advantage that the clone has over the Scion is, I guess, the sheer numbers that they have available. Oh my god, this dude is so annoying. 1313. Yep. I assume that's something that I don't know off the top of my head. Is that like a fan-made thing? What in the hell? I forgot these guys are grenades. That sucks. Alright. Okay, we probably lose this because they just have way too much firepower. Okay. Yep. Yep. Concede defeat. Nope. None of that. None of that bullshit. None of it. I ain't having none. Oh, the big advantage that Star Wars would have is probably the sheer number of armored vehicles that they have. And, to a degree, their aircraft are better than the ones in 40K. Again, they might be slower, but they can travel in and out of orbit much more easily, so they can provide air cover way more easily than the Imperium can. So, while the Navy can kind of zoom and boom really easily, and they might be able to out-dogfight them, Star Wars aircraft are more numerous and pretty much as lethal as 40K aircraft. Way more numerous, actually. It's a lot more of them. And most ships carry aircraft, warships in Star Wars, especially like the clone ones. They all carry aircraft. Or sorry, the droid ones all carry aircraft. See, like something like vulture droids against maybe vulture droids against like standard Imperial Lightnings. I feel like that would be a fun fight. Vulture droids are weaker. They don't have nice shields. Yeah, hordes of fighters. Yeah. And the other thing is, like, they're hordes of fighters, yeah, but they're also, like, pretty well armed. Missiles and the equivalent of multi-lasers. Because you'd have to put everything to a 40K cannon, so it'd be like, okay, multi-laser, las cannon. Something similar to that nature. And then something like a tank gun would maybe be something like, I don't know, not a volcano cannon, it's not that level yet, but a turbo laser destructor, maybe. Uh, a lot of the Star Wars tanks are really poorly designed, though. So putting them up against any level of logical scrutiny is kind of pointless because they're not designed for it. Yeah, the CIS are fun. Just in general, the droid armies, I find them really cool. And I think that, you know, 40K against the droids might honestly be harder than 40K against the Republic. Because, yeah, you don't have, like, intelligent enemies to fight, but it's not like the Guard are usually fighting enemies who are all that intelligent in the first place. I mean, we have, what? Drone-like Necrons, dumb as hell orcs, and Chaos Cultists, who range from being both devious and dangerous to just being downright dumbasses. Yokels, if you will. What's the other one? Oh, yeah, to a degree, Tyranids can be kind of brainless as well, depending upon the variant of Tyranid. Gaunts are usually pretty stupid, especially if there's no one around to directly tell them what to do. So against droids, I don't know. It would depend if the lasgun can penetrate the armor of the B2 Super. I think it's a way easier fight. But if the lasgun can't penetrate the B2 Super, or if it takes a couple of hits in the same spot to penetrate, that might be rough. Very rough, actually. Because B2s are relatively common, and B1s are literally infinite. Literally just print out enough B1s to just, infinite number. Infinite expansion. Oh, whoops. Yep, we are still on the right way. Just checking on the stream, making sure that we're all concurrent and healthy. Yeah, we're occupational. Uh-oh. Please don't crash. Wait. No crash, please. See, if this crashes, we just swap games, which is fine. Okay. See, it always happens. It always do happen. Which just means that we swap over to Conquest of Elysium. Yep. The Crash. The Krasach. Is that crazy thing that, like, bores holes in the ground? No, you can give spoilers. The more I hear about this, the more I am interested in actually, like, doing it. What did you say the guy's name was again? Oh, you know what I should have done today? And you know what I might do soon if you guys are interested? I will do a stream where I actually go and talk about review and or just we watch together. We do a watch party of all of the nice animations that have come out, like Astartes and such. A fan with too much time. Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Too much time. Star Wars? I'm not seeing it. Fan with... Oh, it's all one word. Oh, good God. That is... Okay. Ooh. Okay. That's a lot to listen to. See, okay, now you guys have given me a damn challenge. How long is this entire thing? It looks like his average video is about 45 minutes. And he's got 74 of them. So 74 times 45 divided by 60. So his entire library is about 55 to 60 hours. What prize do I get if I beat him and I get to above 55 hours with my series? Perhaps we will have to find out. I'm going to do random, and I'm going to do a random race. Deep boys. Alright. Yeah. Drop like crazy for sure. Naga warrior? What the hell are you? You are furry bait, that's what you are. Jesus. Alright. I'm gonna bring all of our boys. See if I can't recruit a scout. Yes, I can. Gotta love scouts. Nice and cheap. Iron deposit. Holy hell, a granite citadel. That is expensive, and I don't want to deal with it. The battle will be legendary! Yeah, Grievous should be as strong as he was in Legends. I am a massive Grievous fan. I absolutely think that the Legends... The fact that he's only in Legends for, like, 2 episodes, basically, and then beyond that, he kind of just is treated as trash, is a crime. Is a literal crime. Watch party? Yeah. Good. Then you know what? Let's do that for the next live stream. If I get another live stream in this week, because I'm probably only gonna do 1 video this week, because I was very busy making those 3. Crimson Raxors? Yeah. If you guys are supportive of a watch party type thing, we can go do that. Theoretically, I would probably need to prep to watch that All Is One in future, so we'll do that another time, but Grievous is a cheap knockoff rather than the real one. Yeah, that is kind of true. Because he does eventually become very, very, very dangerous to, even for Dooku to try and take control of. Stalagmite. So okay, these crystal forces give me all good things. Ochre jelly. Get ochred jelly. Yeah. We're gonna go till 9, because I have stuff to do tomorrow and I need to get up early. But, I will make a plan, to to do something similar to this when we get a little more time and get a little bit more streaming in with some material like that. There we go. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I haven't, like, engaged with any canon Star Wars stuff in a very, very, very long time. Probably, I would say, I haven't had any Star Wars content in at least 2 years that I've engaged with deeply. Yeah, Pale 1 Commander. Commanders are important because they are very good for us, unit-wise. We are entirely underground for this. Saint Lazarus. Okay, well, there's a lot of nothing on this map. AI art? Oh, nice. Good, and it'll be nice to go through the entire thing with you guys as a whole. But I think the first thing that I should do, and I think you would agree, is to go through all, or a good amount of the 40k fan project content. So, you know, like Astartes and Death of Hope. Because I have a lot to say about Astartes and Death of Hope. I think that they are two of the most important projects that have ever been done for the hobby, in my opinion. Especially Death of Hope. Death of Hope is just... it's so perfect and beautiful that I become very emotional when I think about it. And very sad that it, that it's over. Or that it ended. The dude looked like he maybe was going to do something else in future, but I think that, I think he got spooked. It was the same thing with TTS. I was like, this is going to be so good and so big for such a long time. And then by the end of it, it was like, that was it. That's all that we got out of it. And TTS was good for a long time, really good, in fact. But unfortunately, it just didn't turn out to be as long-lived as we thought it would be. Still just zooming in and out with voice line acting. Hey, I mean, there's also Astartes. Like, there are other versions that are better than just zooming in and out with voiceovers. And, you know, we can also look at clips from the official series, and maybe, if in future I decide to do that, we could actually get, like, a Warhammer Plus account and go watch the animations, and we could do, like, episode reviews. 'Cause, you know me, I'm a nerd. I like that kind of stuff, and I would gladly watch that with you guys. Oh yeah, I gotcha. As far as, like, just animations that I'd like to see with you guys, I would say that Death of Hope and Astartes would be number 1 and number 2. And they're going to be their own thing, because I want them to be more like episodes than just these kind of series. Or, sorry, these more like streams, just where it's just streaming. I would want to do something more detailed with that, where I can actually have real content that I can consider a video. Because it would be a lot of me pausing it and then talking about other things, or analyzing certain scenes and stuff like that. 49 units. Oh my god, this man has an army. Oh, he's a Kiwi. Good to know. Did not know that. Alright, so is there no way out of here? Oh, there really isn't. Alright, we're going to sit around and hopefully eventually make some progress here. This is like a weird map. I don't know if this is like a fallen situation, or if there's... maybe we gotta kill that guy and he's got some items on him. I don't know. Either way, we need more ancient hurlers. Alright. Yeah. I'm gonna go for 11 more minutes, and then we're gonna chill out for a bit. Yep. That's another thing. Like, clones would definitely not be used to the type of combat that the Imperial Guard does. It would be like, what the hell is going on? These dudes are absolutely crazy, crazy. Because, you know, in a world where everyone not only has firearms, but firearms are just objectively better than any other weapon, unlike 40k, where melee has its very, very solid place, and there are realistic reasons to use it. You know, there's a very solid chance that people in the Star Wars universe wouldn't really understand or kind of prepare mentally for that kind of combat. It just wouldn't really enter their psyche all that much. Yep, bayonets and chainswords. Admittedly, Chaos Cultists do that a lot too. They'll just be like, yes, free chainsword, baby! It's one of the reasons why they get so many of them, is that they end up with a lot of officers who have chain weapons. Yeah, Gallipoli... Oh, you want to know... Okay, so there's a couple of songs that I really, just get really emotional over. And one of them is Sabaton's Gallipoli. It's such a tearjerker song. And it's not really meant to be, because, you know, it is power metal, but it is a tearjerker. It's a sad one. But it's a fun one, too. Because it's just a great, Cameron guards. Yeah, it's just a great, message in terms of, like, yeah, Cliffs of Gallipoli. Ooh. Cool. Sorry, well, the other one that I'm like, I can't listen to it or else I'll start getting, like, sad, is Rylanor's Last Stand, but let's be honest, we're all 40k fans. We know about Rylanor's Last Stand. We know how sad that is, but the song is just, oh, man, it hits me hard every single time. It's a slap in the face each and every time. Alright. Let's do our best. Our hope is that our artillery is strong enough to massacre these guys. And also that those don't have any ranged weapons. Okay, so they have some ranged weapons. Yep. It's difficult to separate the art from the artist, but on occasion, it is very difficult. I can understand that entirely. Because his thing was at the very end of, like, a series of that happening with other creators, and I was like, God damn it, another one. And I was like, ah, shit. It had to be the guy who's just, like, actually makes good music, too. Very unfortunate. Yeah, that's probably the end of this run. I kind of saw that coming. That's way too much shit. It's just getting stronger. Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the big thing. So I was like, okay, well, never anything else. However, I can't really give up on that song specifically. It wasn't like any of his other music was, like, particularly insanely good. Let me think. There was another one like that. That was just a really good but sad, like, hype song. It was by a similar artist. It wasn't 40k, though. Oh! Katie and XX. That was what it was. That was another good one. Though that was based off of Remy and his crew of Absolute Mad Lads. Yeah, a lot of Minecraft YouTubers end up being horrible, horrible people. But I mean, they are Minecraft YouTubers. It is a stereotype. I don't know how long it's been a stereotype, but long enough that that I know about it. So, yeah. YouTube does turn people into monsters, either because they get too rich, or because they become so wealthy that they kind of feel untouchable. That's why I don't want to make any money off this app. I just want to do what I came here to do, and then hopefully fade away into obscurity. That's the thing. In 5 years, 10 years, when I've done everything I can, I've given every explanation or detail that I can, I've gone over every faction that I wanted to go over, I've talked about every scenario or detail that I wanted to, I want to fade away quietly into obscurity. I want some kid like me, 5-10 years ago, to stumble across my channel and show it to his friends and be like, hey guys, look at this guy, and that's it. I want that to be my entire legacy. I don't want to be one of these people who switches over to doing YouTube for an eternal career and just loses sight of all reality and gets all tied up in themselves. It's hard to do. Lots of people get stuck in that situation, but I want to do my best to try and avoid that. It's a little sad to think about, because some people who are really, really good creators, they fell apart once they got too big for their britches, so to speak. And then some of them are just Teflon, man, immune to all things. Yep. I have not played Minecraft in a brick. I think it might have been 2 whole years since last I played Minecraft. That's the ocean. I can't go in the ocean. Alright. Man, I sure do wish I could go in the ocean as the non-aquatic faction. Alright, we're gonna spawn one dude down in the basement as a failsafe in case everything goes terribly wrong. Alright, sweet. More villages here. And ochre jellies, which are easy prey for my legion of cavern guards. Because cavern guards are just really, really good. I don't dislike Minecraft. I was just like, okay, well, it's a game. The game is fun. People enjoy the game. I don't have to enjoy it. I occasionally enjoyed like playing good old-fashioned, like, OG Minecraft way back in the day. That was fun. But it wasn't something where I'd like, I'm gonna give my firstborn to go play Minecraft. Some Minecraft YouTubers would 100% sacrifice their firstborn for the lowest or quickest playthrough of Minecraft. Man, a lot of things up here. Ship breakdowns? Huh. A lot of units over here. Troll King versus non-Troll King. Let's do it. Alright, come on. Beat him. Beat him to death. Yes. W. Mostly archers and swordsmen. I'm pretty sure that my guards will do something to get rid of them. Elixir of health. I think I'm fine. Oh, he's got wizards. That's not fair. Wizards are cringe. That's cheating. Ocean being made of hate. Jesus. Alright, Sandborn. Sandborn Clegane. Oh, the Men of Iron. See, that's the thing. It was funny how everyone went like, oh no! An AI drone with a gun was created, and I'm like, we've been working on that for well over 2 decades, guys. Keep your pants on. It's not all that surprising. We've literally been working on, like, AI fighting drone tech for over a decade now. Like, it's not surprising. That was the other thing. It was like, ah, yes, tiny FPV drones are changing the game in Ukraine. And I'm like, bruh. Literally, we've had that forever. You're just now realizing? I seriously do think that the media just doesn't fucking understand. Yeah. Stupid learning algorithms being called AI. Yes. Every time I hear somebody say, China is leading the world in AI, I just go, China doesn't know what AI is. Shouldn't be giving AI guns? Yes. Counterpoint, we might be giving robots guns to keep the number of combat casualties down, which I personally, as a human being with flesh and blood and bones, appreciate having some concern shown for my livelihood and my survival chance. That's just a me personal thing. I would prefer that the EOD be done by a drone as opposed to me. I don't want to run into enemy fire and get shot to death. I would prefer that the drone does that, or at least that it does some scouting. Yeah, if not directly controlled, they're at least overseen. And, you know, for some people, that's not enough. Some people literally are like, if there's not a human being literally pulling the trigger, it's unethical. And, you know, you can believe that, or not believe that. I'm not the one to tell you what you should or should not use as a line. But to be clear, if you are concerned about that, you should have been upset about smart weapons existing, and you should not believe that guided bombs are useful. Because if your mentality is that a human being has to be directly in control of something for it to kill something, why haven't you been complaining about landmines? Or 500 kilogram JDAM bombs? You know, just because somebody is pointing at something with a laser pointer, is that enough of a difference for you to be okay with that killing someone? In which case, what if I create a little drone car that all I need to direct its fire solution is a little laser? Is that the same thing? Are people cool with that? Clearly no. Most people would still complain about that. I think, in my opinion, for the reason that they complain is because they like complaining, but, you know, other than that. Yeah, anyone can put a remote control in a crop duster. Yes, correct. Very correct, in fact. Alright, nope. You are a special boy, so you... What spells do you have? Tremor and Earth Grip. Okay, good. Good. Not bad spells. We like it as spells. A hero. Use special powers. We need to... Lesser summoning of the dead. Are there dead people here? Can I do this? Not enough diamonds. Cool. Because I care? Not enough emeralds. Damn it. Alright, well, we'll get more stuff in a bit. Interest in playing Tempest Rising when it comes out? I have no idea what that is. Welcome back, Commander. I do not know what Tempest Rising is. What is that? Alright. I think I have enough guys now to go back up into the outer world. Alright. Cool. Grab. Yeah, see, now here's the fun part, where we get to take back all the territory that they stole from us. Also, I realize this dude's name is literally Ballbreaker. Basalt Breaker. Local man named Ballbreaker. CNC Commander like. Hey, I have 2 heroes. That's nice. That's kind of rare, actually. I don't remember that happening before. Alright. Oh! Hi, Hastur the King in Yellow. Can I kill Hastur the King in Yellow? I don't think I can kill an Eldritch God, but let's try. Oh, never mind. I didn't see all the magic he has. We might die here. If we do, that's the end of the game. So, either way. Oh, yeah, he can summon monsters. Alright, come on, Wizard Man. You got lots of abilities. Oh, he has lots of summons. Uh-oh. Yeah, I was gonna say, CNC can mean a lot of stuff. Oh, Command and Conquer. Good. Good. I'm glad that it was Command and Conquer. And not anything else. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Haster the Cane, yellow. Yeah. Fighting the Eldritch God. Not the best plan. Alright. It's 9 p.m. I appreciate you guys. Y'all are great. It's super nice to have this many concurrent folks. So, here's the plan before I sign off. The plan is I'm going to record at least one more large video this week, and then I'm going to line up a couple of streams where we review videos and we go through them bit by bit, and hopefully I probably will be able to stretch out each of them into a into its own thing, and then I will stream them, and then I will make them into videos with their own playlist. So, hopefully we can do that. That should be easy enough for me. I am, you know, technologically illiterate, but we can try. So, if that's the plan, we could probably do 2 of those this week, hopefully. So, either way, good night, y'all. Have a good night. Take care, and,